Hello, Cules. We are still riding the wave of emotion after the final whistle of Atlético de Madrid's 5-2 against Real Madrid, echoing through the Wanda Metropolitano. The stadium is a sea of red and white, with Colchoneros singing as if they had just won the Champions League, while the Madridistas slink back to the dressing room with long faces, as if they had seen a ghost. The English press, always ready to dramatize, is already sharpening its headlines, mocking the white collapse with that dry humor it's known for, while maintaining the serious tone such a high-stakes match demands. This derby is more than just a game, it's a football lesson, a soap opera packed with twists that deserves to be told in every detail. And here we are, because there's so much to unpack without moving an inch from this moment. The atmosphere at the Metropolitano is purely electric. Picture 68,000 Rojiblanco souls screaming until their voices give out, their chants rumbling like thunder. From the first whistle, the stands are already ablaze, chanting Simeone's name as if he were a pagan god. When Robin Lou Normand heads in the 1-0, the stadium erupts so violently it feels like the stands might take off. The few Madridistas in the away section, brave in their white scarves, try to make themselves heard with a timid, "Hola Madrid!" But it's like trying to put out a fire with a water bottle. There's a moment, right after Julian Alvarez's stunning goal makes it 4-2, when the Colchonero Ultras unfurl a homemade banner reading, "Amor siempre," a message that perfectly captures this team's grit. The English press, missing nothing, eagerly picks up on it. The Guardian writes in its live coverage, "The Atleti fans are a hurricane, and tonight, Real Madrid is drowning in it." It's their way of saying, with a smile, that the Colchonero supporters are as vital as the players. And if this atmosphere already has you covered in goosebumps, subscribe, because what's coming is pure spectacle. This match has more layers than an onion. Let's talk about the players, but without repeating what you already know. At Atlético, every footballer seems touched by a magic wand tonight. Diego Simeone, pacing the sidelines, is like a general commanding a battle. He never stops shouting, gesturing, adjusting every detail as if he's playing chess at 1,000 miles per hour. His intensity is contagious. You see players like Pablo Barrios, that youngster running as if his life depends on it, fighting for every loose ball like it's a final. Then there's Nahuel Molina, who doesn't just defend but bombs up the right flank like a rocket, whipping in crosses that rattle the white defense. And what about Axel Witsel, repurposed as a center-back, who at 36 plays like he's 20, cutting out attacks with a composure that drives Vinicius mad? The English press, ever watchful, quickly highlights these unsung heroes. The Times states, "Atlético doesn't need superstars, it has workers with the soul of champions." A sly dig at Real's millions. Of course, on the Colchonero bench, Simeone's substitutions are one success after another. When he brings on Antoine Griezmann in the second half, the Frenchman enters with a special spark, as if he'd been waiting all week for this moment. His 90+3 RD minute goal, a crossed finish after a pinpoint Alex Baena pass, is the icing on the cake. Griezmann celebrates by sprinting toward the stands, fist raised, and the fans respond as if he's a war hero. Baena, another substitute, brings freshness and audacity that unsettles the white defenders. De San, in its direct style, writes, "Griezmann and Baena, the subs who slapped Madrid." It's their way of laughing, but also acknowledging that Simeone manages his pieces better than anyone. On the Real Madrid side, it's as if someone turned out the lights. Carlo Ancelotti, until now the darling of the white bench, looks like a teacher whose students won't listen. His game plan, which had been ticking like a Swiss watch in previous matches, crumbles tonight like a house of cards. Players who had been crushing weaker teams seem lost against Atlético's intensity. Rodrigo, who didn't start, comes on in the second half but barely touches the ball, as if he's lost in a maze. Brahim Diaz, another waiting for his chance, stays on the bench, and Madridista fans on social media are already grumbling, "Why didn't he play?" At least he has the will. The Telegraph, with its measured analysis, notes, "Ancelotti bet on his stars but forgot that in a derby, heart weighs more than talent." A touch of elegant irony, typical of the English, who know how to land a jab without raising their voices. Let's talk about the white defense, because it's one of the night's biggest jokes, though Madridistas aren't laughing. Dani Carvajal, usually a bull at right back, tonight looks like a matador getting trampled by the bull. He's beaten by 2 Molina crosses and is out of position for Simic's goal, failing to close down the space. Alvaro Odriozola, the new signing meant to strengthen the left flank, has a night to forget. He's outpaced, outmuscled in duels, and to top it off, commits a silly foul that leads to Alvarez's free kick. The Daily Mail doesn't hold back. Odriozola, the new boy, learned that a derby is no walk in the park. Eder Militao, usually a wall, is distracted tonight, losing his markers on corners and leaving gaps that the Colchoneros exploit like sharks smelling blood. Aurelien Tchouameni, the expensive French youngster, looks like a rookie against Atletico's veterans. The Mirror sums it up with humor. Madrid spent millions on its defense, but Atletico made them look like amateurs. The white midfield is another mess. Federico Valverde, the Uruguayan who usually charges around like a runaway horse, tonight seems tied up. He loses the ball in dangerous areas, and every mistake is a gift for the Colchoneros, who show no mercy. Aurelien Tchouameni, supposed to be the team's anchor, is unrecognizable, chasing opponents as if playing tag. The English, who love analyzing midfields, show no mercy. Sky Sports, with Gary Neville leading the charge, declares, Madrid's midfield was a sieve. Valverde and Tchouameni looked like tourists at the Metropolitano. It's a serious comment, but with that hint of mockery that makes English fans laugh over a pint at the pub. And if this chaos on the field has already hooked you, subscribe, because here we tell football with the passion you don't see on TV news, with every detail that makes this sport a unique spectacle. Because it's not just the match, it's everything around it. For example, the reactions in the boxes. Florentino Perez, the president who is always in his cloud of power, cannot hide his frustration tonight. The cameras catch him frowning, staring at his phone as if he's trying to order a miracle. On the Colchonero side, Enrique Cerezo, Atletico's president, is in party mode, hugging everyone in sight. The Independent captures the contrast. While Cerezo dances, Perez plans a crisis meeting. It's an exaggeration, of course, but with that English humor that paints the scene like a Shakespearean comedy. Outside the stadium, social media is a battleground. On Twitter, or X as it's now called, the hashtags #DerbaMadrileno and #AtleticoReal are burning with memes that would make even the most bitter person laugh. A viral meme shows Mbappe with a poker face and the text, "When you spend 150 million and get beaten by a pass from Baena." Another, courtesy of an English fan, depicts Simeone as a chef cooking a 5-goal cake with white ingredients. The comments from English supporters are pure gold. Madrid thought it would be a walk, but Atletico gave them an intensive football lesson, writes one user. A tweet from a The Times journalist goes viral. 5-2 isn't just a defeat, it's a humiliation that will be studied in football schools. And the Kules, of course, join the party with messages like, "Thanks Atleti, for making our weekend happier." In London's pubs, the topic is the same. Premier League fans, who always have an opinion on La Liga, are in their element. In a pub in Trafalgar Square, a group of Arsenal supporters compares the match to their own derbies against Tottenham. "It's like when we put 4 past them, but with extra spice," they say. In another, Liverpool fans recall battles against Madrid in the Champions League and drop, "Simeone did what Klopp dreamed of." The English press fuels the frenzy. BBC Sport publishes a live analysis. Atletico gave Madrid a lesson in intensity. This is real football, not a parade of stars. The tone is serious, but there's a mocking wink when they add, Mbappe, Bellingham, and Vinicius overshadowed by a team that runs more than it shines. Let's talk about the small details on the pitch, because that's where the magic of this match lies. For example, the role of Jan Oblak, the Colchonero goalkeeper who doesn't often make headlines because he doesn't score goals, but who tonight is a titan. In the first half, with Madrid leading 2-1, he pulls off an impossible save on a Militao header that was destined for the top corner. This save, overlooked amid the goal fest, is crucial in keeping Atletico in the game. The Athletic, always attentive to detail, mentions it, Oblak, the silent hero, robbed Madrid of the chance to come back. Then there's Marcos Llorente, who plays as a fullback but seems to be everywhere. He defends, attacks, wins back balls, and even provides assists. His pass for Simic's goal is a gem, a low cross that slices through the white defense like a hot knife. In the Madrid camp, there are moments that hurt even the neutral observer. For example, when Arda Güler, the young Turk who had scored a stunner, attempts a dribble in the second half and trips over the ball, losing a clear chance. The Colchonero stands laugh, and the English turn it into an instant meme. Güler, from hero to stumble in an instant, headlines one site. Another detail is Vinicius' frustration. At one point in the match, after losing a duel with Witsel, he shouts at the referee for a non-called foul. The cameras catch him, and in England, they already have the material for another meme, Vini, when the referee gives you nothing. It's a touch of humor, but it also reflects how the Brazilian, usually a whirlwind, seems out of gas tonight. The Madrid bench also sparks discussion. Ancelotti makes substitutions, but they don't yield the desired results. When he brings on Endrick, the young Brazilian who cost a fortune, the kid tries a few individual moves but runs into the Colchonero wall. The Guardian sums it up, Endrick has talent, but Atlético is no place for a derby debut. White supporters on social media begin questioning Ancelotti's decisions. Why didn't he bring on Modric earlier? At least he doesn't back down. Luka Modric, the eternal Croat, comes on late and barely has time to touch the ball. The English, who respect the veteran, regret it. Modric, the only one who could have changed things, but he arrived too late to the party. On the Colchonero side, Simeone's tactical details are a work of art. The way he orders his players to press in a pack, like a wolf pack, means Madrid can't comfortably play the ball out. Every time Tchouaméni or Valverde attempt a long pass, there's a Rojiblanco waiting to intercept. And on corners, Atlético is lethal. The goals from Lenormand and Simic come from set pieces with movements that fool the white defense. The Telegraph highlights it, Simeone turned corners into a nuclear weapon. It's an exaggeration, but it captures the essence of how Cholo exploits every detail of the game. And we can't forget the role of the referees, because in a derby, there's always controversy. The penalty awarded against Madrid for a Witsel handball sparks outrage among the whites. Fans on social media call it robbery, but the English, with their neutral view, aren't so sure. Sky Sports analyzes, the hand was in a natural position, but in modern football, that no longer matters. The bar spoke, and Alvarez didn't forgive. Then there's Alvarez's free kick, where the white wall parts like the Red Sea and Courtois can do nothing. The English, always fans of a good free kick, celebrate it, a stroke of genius from Alvarez, and Madrid looking to the heavens. In the dressing rooms, the contrast is brutal. In Atlético's, it's a party. The players sing, Simeone gives back slaps, and Griezmann jokes with Baena about who's buying dinner. In Madrid's, the silence is so heavy you could cut it with a knife. Ancelotti gathers the players, speaks calmly, but the faces of Mbappé and Bellingham are poetic. Desan, with its sensationalist touch, publishes a photo of the white dressing room with the headline, Silence at the Bernabeu, but the Metropolitano sings. It's their way of rubbing salt in the wound, but also telling the story of a team that, for one night, was left without answers.